All right. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a very large group registered for today's webinar, and we are super excited that you have decided to take time out of your day to join us to just talk about all of our collective work in thanking volunteers and engaging volunteers through each of these campaigns. And we're just so excited that we had such a great response to this webinar. So as you pop in, please pop in the chat and tell us where you're from so we can welcome you from all over the country, all over the world. We are a global organization and just would love to, hey, Julie, Salt Lake City. Holly from Maine. Oh, I see the chat's coming in. Florida. I'm in Florida myself. New York, Massachusetts. I love seeing all of this. Virginia, welcome everybody. All right, I see our numbers climbing. Continue to tell us where you're from, and we'll give folks another minute or so to join. So welcome if you're just joining us, Ohio, Texas, Michigan, St. Louis, New Jersey, California, from everywhere. So thank you guys so much. Lots of different time zones. It's always tricky to find the right time that works across the US and across the world. So thank you guys for joining us. Delaware, good morning. Hi, Vicki. South Carolina. All right. Well, welcome. We know we'll have folks continue to join. If you're just popping on, we're just asking folks where they're from. So feel free to pop in the chat and tell us where you're from as well. Good morning, Carla. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, well, we'll keep this going, but we have a pretty packed agenda today that we're excited to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and introduce myself and then ask our co-presenter, Hannah, to introduce herself. So welcome officially. I'm Kristen Whitaker. I am with Points of Light. I oversee all of the marketing and communications efforts here at Points of Light, as well as Global Volunteer Month. Have worked in the nonprofit space for 15 years, used to work for Girl Scouts for over a decade, and then with Points of Light, and just have always been in organizations laser focused on volunteerism and civic engagement. So understand where you are, probably many of you with resources and planning, and just welcome you and hope that we can be as helpful as possible today. And with that, I'll turn it over to Hannah.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Hannah Voino, and I run Good Deeds Day, which we'll hear about in a minute. But Good Deeds Day is part of an organization called Ruach Tovah. We are the Volunteer Center of Israel, and we are an affiliate of the Points of Light Network. So it's really great to see so many of you on, especially some Ohio peeps. I'm originally from Ohio, so great to see some representation there. And we're excited to get together today.
Great. Thank you, Hannah. Okay, I love seeing everybody just continue to tell us where you're from. We are going to do a quick poll question just to get a pulse from the group on whether you've participated in one, more than one, all of these campaigns. So we'll go ahead and launch that poll. So let us know, please participate. We'll take a few minutes, make sure that we've got the majority of folks, participating in the poll. Once we see that percentage climb, we'll just continue to welcome folks. So thank you so much for joining us all over the country. All right. And Kyria, I'm assuming you're going to show the results once we have a decent percentage of participants. So South Carolina, Florida, welcome everybody. Happy Friday. Please pop in and take the poll real quick. Okay, I think we can go ahead and share results. Okay, yep, this is kind of what I expected. So, National Volunteer Week definitely being very US based, having been around for many, many years. See that 90% of this group has participated in that, as well as Global Volunteer Month and a little bit for Good Deeds Day. And so that's great. That's why we're doing this webinar today. What we hope that you gain from today are simple, easy, accessible ideas so that you can, just amplify and participate in all of these initiatives in April, and just realize that it's easier than ever, just even through some simple actions, just to extend even what you're doing for National Volunteer Week to the whole month, and even throughout the year. The last thing that we'll do logistics wise before we get started is continue the chat. Tell us what you're looking to learn from today. That really helps us. We're going to go over a number of resources, but it's January and we know this is in April, so we have more opportunity. It helps us understand from you, like, let us know what you're hoping to learn from today's webinar, what you're hoping to gain and walk away with. And we can tailor future webinars to that, and even just, updating of our assets after the fact. So new ideas, new trends, ideas for engagement. We've got lots of those. Free or low cost. Love that, Sarah. Great. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get us going. Get my cursor, sorry, on the screen. Okay, so I just want to start off just a little bit about Points of Light. Hopefully, because you've seen the emails and signed up for this webinar, you know a little bit about who Points of Light is, but just in case you don't, Points of Light was founded in 1990 by President Bush Sr. We are a nonpartisan organization. We are laser focused on volunteerism and civic engagement. Our core values, we believe people are the most powerful force for change in the world, and that through people taking action, they can solve the world's and the community's most pressing opportunities and really create thriving, equitable communities everywhere. And no one knows that more than you with the work that you do in communities. And so we are a global organization here to support all of those efforts. We do have a global footprint. We have a membership network of innovative volunteer mobilizing organizations like Hannah's with Rock Tova. We have 145 affiliates across 39 countries, mobilizing millions of volunteers through thousands of community partnerships like yours. And so just wanted to share a little bit about who Points of Light is. We have an annual conference every year in June. Hopefully, you're hearing about that. It's in Houston, but please plan to join us there. And just, we are an organization that is really a partner to you, advancing civic engagement, providing resources. So that's a little bit about Points of Light. Let's jump into what we're here for today. So Global Volunteer Month. It really started in 2019. Points of Light has always been very active with National Volunteer Week. We are pretty instrumental in setting the dates for that, working with, US and local offices to proclaim National Volunteer Week, have always provided resources for that. We are a global organization, so our partners came to us and said, we want to have something that's global, and why not all month long? So we created Global Volunteer Month 5 years ago. 2024 will be the 5th year of this campaign, and it happens all month long in April. It's really a great opportunity to not only extend the celebration and the thanks of volunteers beyond National Volunteer Week, but inspire volunteerism around the globe, as well as just shine a spotlight on your organization's greatest needs to get the community engaged. We look at Global Volunteer Month as an umbrella campaign. So it's really a messaging and marketing and inspirational campaign. So it's kind of the what as the umbrella campaign. And Good Deeds Day can be the how. And so I'm excited for you to hear from Hannah today to talk about what that can look like and how that can show up. And so I'll turn it over to Hannah to talk a little bit about Good Deeds Day.
Thanks, Kristen. So Good Deeds Day is a global movement of doing good. We are a worldwide network of organizations, corporations, community organizations, and every group in between of people who believe around doing good. So that includes volunteering, of course, but we use the terminology doing good to make it just super accessible for people to see that they can make change in the world just by being who they are and how they act in their day-to-day lives, as well as getting involved in community causes. We've been around for we're in our 18th year. We started in 2007. Today, we span over 110 countries around the world that are all active in all kinds of projects around Good Deeds Day itself. This year, it's on April 14. It's always on a Sunday in April, but the date of which Sunday fluctuates due to the holiday calendar. But really, it's Good Deeds Day. We see it as really a springboard for year-round activities. So while the word day is in the name, today it's really about projects that go on all through April, but also throughout the whole year. So it's a really good opportunity to either launch projects or kind of do big efforts around April and to continue those partnerships year round and to just continue that momentum, because it's really we're all about the year round, long-term positive impact. And what we really believe at our core and our mission is that doing good is a lifestyle, and every single person plays a positive role to create sustainable change to help our communities connect and thrive. That's at the core of who we are and what we do. We've been a part of the Points of Light Network as the Ruach Tova affiliate for a number of years now. I'm really happy to be part of the network and connect with so many people in the US and around the world. In between Good Deeds Day and Global Volunteer Month, we have a pretty large reach between the two, between our social media platforms. Good Deeds Day, we operate one in English, one in Spanish, but we also have dozens of pages around the world. And between the two, Global Volunteer Month and Good Deeds Day, especially this year, we're really trying to just amplify and celebrate and just elevate all the amazing things that volunteers and organizations like yourselves are doing all year round in April, as well as elevate the work going on in April.
Great. Thanks, Hannah.
And so we're going to talk today a lot. I see so many people who are looking for ideas. So we'll be giving lots of those, as well as lots of resources to share after on more ways, more ideas and things like that. But definitely the month of April through both is an opportunity to really just recognize and thank your volunteers. It's also a great opportunity to bring in new people. As I talked about, like, there's a lot of people that do good in their daily lives, but don't necessarily consider themselves volunteers. So it's a great opportunity to invite those people into some more of the volunteer programs that you guys are offering. And it's also just a great way to leverage and strengthen existing partnerships. So we can create new projects and we can think strategically about new things to do, but we can also just tap in and leverage what we already have planned and leverage those partnerships that are working really well and just amplify that. So that's a lot about what we're all about, is that, you know, resources can be stretched. We know that especially in the US, there's so many days and opportunities to volunteer, and the calendars can get packed, especially in April. So we can also just strategically tap into what we've got planned, and to utilize that as part of Global Volunteer Month and Good Deeds Day.
All right. So if you're like me, you're date driven, dates are important, calendar reminders are important. So you will get a copy of this deck after today, but we just wanted to make sure there was a slide with dates. So I'll start on the right-hand side. We tried this last year. It was a social surge, and it's really something we'd love everyone to join. It kicks off April 1st, so please join us that day. Mark your calendars, just to kick off the month of Global Volunteer Month and thank a volunteer. We want to create a lot of buzz. We do a lot of media outreach for Global Volunteer Month, PSAs, you know, lifestyle segments. And so we're always kind of pointing back to what we're doing and how many partners are joining us. And if we can create this buzz, it'll be a really great moment, I think, for you as an organization and for all of us collectively. Global Volunteer Month, the whole month long. Good Deeds Day, April 14th. National Volunteer Week in Canada and the US kind of spans from April 14th through April 27th. Earth Day is April 22nd. We know that there's a lot of focus on Earth Day during April, especially engaging companies, engaging volunteers for different projects. Earth Day has some really great ideas on their site. And then if you're youth serving, there's also Global Youth Service Day, which is put on by Youth Service America for ages 5 to 25. And so what we hope that you take away from this is not, oh my gosh, this is an overwhelming list of things that I, have to plan and participate for, but it being easy just to include different tags at like the most basic level of how can I stretch what I'm planning in potentially a National Volunteer Week to the whole month of April, just by throwing in some tags and combining some of these things, and maybe not necessarily starting something new, but just what you're already doing and amplifying it and stretching it out through these opportunities. They're all opportunities for storytelling, for action and engagement of your community and your existing volunteers. So, we'll get to the ideas, but why should you participate? I think this kind of speaks a little bit to how your messaging can evolve to engage the community, to engage media, to engage volunteers. So I'll start on the right. There is a real sense of urgency around the trends in volunteerism right now. If you haven't seen the data that's been put out from AmeriCorps and the US Census recently, we know that volunteerism had one of the sharpest declines in recent years, and it's down by 7%. So there is a lot of conversation going on in the public domain, in the media. They're very willing to place stories and shine a light on organizations' needs and the impact of the decline in volunteerism. And I would advise, just from what we're seeing from our perspective, it's okay to lean into that and have that help shine a light on your organization's needs and the impact. You'll start to see some of the assets that we roll out later on this call have some of that more urgent language included. There's going to be a balance of the thank you and the positive uplifting, as well as the sense of urgency. The other conversation that's going on right now is about individual impact. So whether it's brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic or other reasons, the US Surgeon General in particular talked a lot last year about this kind of loneliness and isolation epidemic that is facing individuals today. And so that's really important for us to kind of lean into as a movement, because one of the antidotes that was lifted up through that is getting into your community and connecting with others, volunteering specifically to address, kind of the real health risks of the lack of social connection. So there's some great infographics that you can attach social copy to, you can attach email copy to highlight your organization's needs, to work with your media. You'll see some of this in our resources that we roll out, just about the real impact of lacking social connection. These stats are certainly alarming. So that's one angle that you can uniquely use to, just think differently about recruiting volunteers this spring.
And another why take part is it's a really good opportunity to just stand out as a community leader and to bring together the different organizations that you may work with already or you may want to work with. That also includes, it could be government, local government, as well as corporate partners. So ones that you might already engage in and others that you want to engage in. They could be sponsors or they could be partners. So we see a lot of corporate activation around April. So it's a great time to go back to your companies that you may work with and offer to collaborate with them. We also work with all kinds of corporates around the globe, and we're always looking to connect them to, their local branches wherever they are. So we always try to connect whether nonprofit and corporate partners to where people are. And coming together and as really a global community in a global world. So a lot of times we focus on doing good in our communities and the local impact we make. But we see a huge effect when we all join together as a united world to do good. So you're really part of something bigger. And this is something that we see that volunteers really, really like, because when you're part of something bigger than yourself and bigger than your community, it feels meaningful. It feels like, wow, I'm really part of this impact that's happening all over the world. So a lot of people are asking about, how do we get new volunteers? This is one of the ways, is by joining with a global day and a global way that people can be part of that. There's also all kinds of bigger organizations, big and small, that take part. You've got the United Ways, the Hands-Ons, the Girl Scouts, AmeriCorps, all kinds of these organizations that take part, and the global as well, and many companies too. So by joining, you're also joining UPS, Samsung, Chobani, Good Pops, Google, a lot of these big and small companies, a lot of B Corp companies that mark April and Good Deeds Day as one of the ways that they create impact. So you're also kind of linking up with global partners. So when you talk about what you're doing in April, you can talk about that, you're talking about the impact you're making is on the level of some of these companies as well, that you can also name drop. And so that also can go a long way.
All right. So another opportunity to participate, we see that, if you already have a full calendar, whether it's an open community calendar of volunteer events, or you're a membership organization and you're trying to engage or re-engage your membership base, creating something like an infographic with your top 3 opportunities. So it's not necessarily that you have to start now and create something new to engage volunteers. Just, plan to shine a spotlight consistently on a few things. You can include those planned projects as part of Global Volunteer Month. Use the tags. So it just, again, kind of stretches out the whole month, and it gives you a reason to have 30 days worth of content versus just 1 week worth of content. You can also organize a project that can bring in, dozens of new volunteers. So that's something that Hannah's going to talk about a little bit more. Also, some timely actions to take now on the right-hand side, and we'll send all of these links out in a follow-up email. If you sign up by March 11th for Good Deeds Day, there is a free t-shirt component. I think, Hannah, you called it the new volunteer uniform. So we'll drop that link in the chat. We're also asking everyone to sign up now to be a Global Volunteer Month hero. And that just means that you commit to, being a partner in the Global Volunteer Month campaign. We'll list you on our website. We'll include your organization name in our media and marketing outreach efforts. We had 85 organizations join last year, and we're really looking to grow that significantly. And it helps us just kind of amplify all the great things that are going on. Of course, right now, if you haven't start gathering volunteer stories. We know that sometimes this can be a challenge. So, think about how to make it easy. Just asking someone to answer a simple question versus fill out a form, or what forms have you already gathered throughout the year from other events where people gave you feedback about why they volunteer. So think about the things that you're already collecting or that you could make super easy to, just start to gather volunteer stories. It doesn't have to be a full page blog necessarily about a volunteer story. Those are great as well, but it can be just as simple as, a graphic with a quote and a question and a challenge to your community about why do you volunteer, just to get some buzz going. Okay. So this is a little bit of, you've heard Hannah and I talk about be part of a global movement. What you're seeing is a mashup of some examples, and there's a couple of things I want to pull out from this slide. Number one is we actually have some really cool links called Wakelets that Jen, our social media manager, puts in place. And so it's an aggregation of hundreds and hundreds of examples of how you can produce content during Global Volunteer Month, National Volunteer Week, Good Deeds Day. It is a great way to just pull ideas and see what others are doing. Up there on the left, United Way of Miami, great job, multiple tagging, quick infographic with kind of their top 3 needs, really easy, date-driven way to get involved. I volunteer there in the middle. talking about reconnecting with your childhood, spending time with seniors, kind of pulling out that emotional appeal of getting folks from the community engaged. Just lots of great examples. United Way of Greater Richmond and Petersburg over there on the right, just multiple tagging, and also highlighting their literacy kits. And so like, what are those 2 to 3 programmatic ideas that you can simplify, make it easy for people to participate in? And these are just a few examples here. So, it's a mix of both thanking volunteers as well as calls to action, and there should be both during the month. So we will share this. I think Jen's actually going to pull it up a little bit later and kind of talk about what works really well. And then you can go through it kind of afterwards and pick up from some ideas and share it with your teams if they weren't able to be on the call today. Some additional ideas for thanking and recognizing volunteers. We've already talked about Social Surge Day. Hands on Atlanta did a great example of reaching out to local officials with a request. You can send a brief script. It doesn't have to be, it could be a couple sentences, but you can see they engaged their local senator, and they had their own campaign, Spring for Service, but wrapped it under the Global Volunteer Month umbrella. And their local senator recorded a really great video, and then it led to some great media coverage for them. United Ways of California, just really simple, the infographics there with a quote about, why do you volunteer? Good Deeds Day is a really great kind of virtual e-card to send a message and thank volunteers. We at Points of Light aim for 2 volunteer stories a week from our affiliate network, and then we try to plug and amplify everything that we're seeing from, across the network. So these links down at the bottom, these Wakelet links you will have, and again, they have hundreds of examples, as well as this Good Deeds Day link to get ideas and the starter kit. So those are just a few examples. I'll turn over to you, Hannah.
Thanks. So I was just answering in the chat about the date of a Good Deeds Day, which is a great tee up to how do we engage volunteers. So Good Deeds Day's official date is April 14th this year. That's a Sunday. However, it happens throughout the entire month. So we really see it as April is like the umbrella month of Good Deeds Day. Some people are not active on a Sunday, and that's totally fine. You can do your project or projects anytime in April, and even some people do them a month before and a month after, because some people, especially abroad, there's all these different, April is this, so people prefer May. So you can feel free to choose a day that works for you, and we see it as all part of the efforts around Good Deeds Day. What also is really great is whether or not you have a calendar of volunteer projects that already occur in April, is a really easy way to take part is just tag those projects as part of Good Deeds Day and Global Volunteer Month. Kristen was talking about just tagging earlier, and this is just a great low barrier way that if you already have things planned and if April's already busy, this is the simple way to already tag those things as part of both of the movements. A great example too is from iVolunteer, which is the affiliate in India who offers different projects throughout the month. They partner with local organizations. So not everything is actually run by them or their organization. They partner with others. So other NGOs are the ones hosting and they're publicizing it and talking about it as part of Good Deeds Day in their community. Another great way to involve volunteers, whether they're new or existing, is to create a hype around it, right? Is to have a larger volunteer project or an event that a lot of people can come to. So a lot of questions were on how can I do this that's free or low cost? What can I do that's creates a big impact, but maybe not as big of an investment? So an event or multiple volunteer projects, or even one project such as a big park cleaning or a big beach cleaning, or whatever is in your area of cleaning that needs to be cleaned, is a really great way to bring a lot of people together, and then doing something with everybody afterwards to really recognize the efforts that they did that day, but also throughout the year. So it can double as volunteer recognition and appreciation, and also a way to let's do good. Let's do an action on this day and on this month. It's also, we see a lot too around partnering with a company. NGOs partnering with companies to do an event together. So the corporate is also the sponsor in this case, but they're also your partner. So sometimes corporates, they might sponsor, but they also really like to be invited to do things together. And this is a great opportunity as well to just leverage that. To invite them to do a project together. They can bring their employees and it can be invited to the entire community. But you can also invite them to sponsor the items. So a couple other ideas that we've seen that are super successful is around, the assembly lines, whether it's sandwich making or packaging or even not food related, but toiletry bag making, is by getting the items donated, but being able to have dozens or even hundreds of volunteers come out and take part in the activity. That creates a lot of impact because you see a lot of people coming out and taking part. You have the momentum and it feels really good. And you can also create, you can make a lot of these meals or packs, so you have actual impact as well. And I'll talk a little bit later about one of those examples. The other thing too is make it fun. People in the chat where you guys are asking, how do I get people to come out, and how do I, engage volunteers and new volunteers? By making it fun, by making it something that people really want to come back to and they want to be engaged in later. So at Good Deeds Day specifically, like, we're all about making it a fun vibe and doing good together and just making it super low barrier so that people want to come back. So when you make it fun and enjoyable, they're more likely to return. And by having a really positive volunteer experience, that also contributes. If you work with a company and they have global or even regional or countrywide branches, it's also great to invite them to have their other branches involved. Someone also asked about involving, teams that are remote, and maybe your own organization has people remote. So it's a great opportunity to get people to do something together, even if it's separate, and then to tell the story afterwards of how your organization or how a company joined together in April to do good. Yeah, and so we can, and here's just the photo before is one of the photos from one of the events where they packaged 50,000 meals. And they had a couple hundred volunteers come out. So just having that impact there and that number makes people really understand that impact, but also being part of like an event as well. Other ways to really engage is by creating blog posts. So if you have an active blog, you could do it there. If not, you could just use your social media handles wherever you're active to talk about how people can get involved and take action. So you could utilize April, but you can also talk about ways that people can get involved with you throughout the whole year, right? So we really see Good Deeds Day as a strategic day to boost the mission that you're doing. And with Global Volunteer Month as well, of all of us coming together, that you can totally capitalize on the fact that you're promoting and you're getting involved in a global day, but keep these people involved throughout the year as well. You can ask your active volunteers to share what motivates them to volunteer or to link up with you or their organization that they volunteer with. And really involving them and having them be able to tell their story. So we're also really wanting to get people we want to have a really big hype around April. So we have the first as the surge, but we're really looking to have all of April be to see a lot of different stories and posts on social media. So we've got the hashtags Global Volunteer Month, Good Deeds Day, as well as National Volunteer Week, if you take part in that, and others. So really utilize those so we can really see the impact, because we're also going to be retweeting and reposting and resharing all of that. And one other example I'll share around getting new volunteers is just by having like a call to action of having people get involved, whether it's in your organization or whether it's your partner organization that they joined. And just by sharing different ways, you're getting them used to all the different ways that they can take part. For instance, one of our partners, Good Pops, which maybe you guys are familiar of with their healthy dessert line. They're based in Austin, and they're a B Corp company, and they partner with a local organization called Keep Austin Beautiful. And they did a big volunteer project on Good Deeds Day last year, and they invited all the community to come out. And then afterwards, they had a fun outdoor restaurant bar where they invited all the volunteers to come after. And the restaurant bar, they sponsored it in part, and Good Pops sponsored it and other parts, and they recognize the volunteers. So it doubled as an action, but also volunteer recognition. And they're also leading the call to invite other B Corp companies to join them and do good and partner with a local nonprofit as well. And we're also trying to help make those connections of other companies where they're looking for a nonprofit partner.
Thanks, Hannah. I'll just speak to a couple of questions in the chat real quick. Yes, this content will be available. We have a thank you email that's already set up to go out after the webinar, and you'll get all of these links to the slides, all of these hyperlinks that are active throughout the deck. We'll pull those out. So yes, we know that that's really important to kind of pivot with some of the ideas. So absolutely, yes, that will be available. Okay. We're going to move into the peer-to-peer sharing, because we know that is always helpful. It's great to hear us talk about kind of the what's possible and what's happened, and also helpful to hear from peers. So at this time, I would like to introduce Alex from Volunteer New York. He is their Director of Marketing and Communications, and has generously just agreed to give us some time and talk about what Volunteer New York did for Global Volunteer Month and what they're considering for this year. So with that, Alex, I'll turn it over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Kristen, and the Points of Light team for inviting me today. So yeah, I just wanted to discuss, I'm from Volunteer New York, and our mission is to mobilize our community to address its greatest challenges. So when we looked at Global Volunteer Month and Good Deeds Day and National Volunteer Week, we used those opportunities to help amplify our already existing partnerships and programs across, whether it was our partnerships with local municipalities, like one being New Rochelle. We partnered with the mayor of New Rochelle to have a volunteer recognition breakfast for our RSVP AmeriCorps seniors. We also partnered with the county of Westchester County to highlight Global Volunteer Month and shine light on volunteerism as a whole and how volunteerism affects our communities and local agencies and nonprofits. We also partnered with this local city of Yonkers to help recognize seniors that are making an impact locally through their RSVP AmeriCorps stations. And then our Rise recognition ceremony, which highlighted our IDD community and all the impacts they're doing and how they exemplify everyone can serve. So I know that launching a new program can be scary, but one of the benefits of Global Volunteer Month that we've seen is how we've been able to utilize that language, utilize that branding and that messaging to help amplify what we've already have in our arsenal of events and programs and recognition, and also tying into Good Deeds Day and showing all of the volunteers that are making a significant impact in a local micro scale, which sometimes when someone talks about volunteerism, they get scared of the idea that you need to make a big significant impact without realizing that it starts with you, and it starts with the little actions you do within your local community. So utilizing the language and utilizing the resources that Points of Light and Global Volunteer Month gives us, whether it's hashtags, whether it's just ideas on how we should brand our programs and how we should talk about volunteerism as a whole, has been effective in just galvanizing and mobilizing different communities and showing how they're part of a bigger movement. And also, wrapping in Earth Day and, with our partnership with New Rochelle, in 2023, we cleaned 13 parks and had mobilized over 250 volunteers. And we talked about how it was more than just Earth Day weekend. It was about being part of a global movement, and how everyone across the world is doing something similar to what you're doing, and you're helping to make a bigger impact on a larger scale. And when you use that type of branding and use that type of language, people feel it. It shows more of an impact internally. And another thing that we do at Volunteer New York, and we weren't able to do it last year due to some scheduling conflicts, but every year we have an annual Volunteer Spirit Awards ceremony where we highlight different change makers and volunteers across the counties in the Hudson Valley, and highlight their impact, and the agencies that helped recognize them, we highlight their impact as well. So, we see Global Volunteer Month, and we've seen the success in just being able to tie our existing programs and just increase awareness and just amplify what we've already have in our books.
Thank you so much, Alex. Lots of great ideas, and love the list and all those screenshots, and just how you guys engaged partners and made the most of media opportunities and tied in Earth Day and your volunteer recognition event. Just so many great things. So lots of good ideas and lessons to be learned here. So thank you, Alex, for taking time to share that. And if you have any questions, we'll open it up to questions at the very end. So with that, I'm going to pass it to Hannah to talk about another example.
Thanks. Sorry, I was muted, so I didn't cough or interrupt Alex. I really love what Alex was talking about in terms of leveraging partnerships, and it's such a great example of connecting with current partners and just leveraging what you already have planned and existing. The Baltimore Volunteer Center they do something similar in that they tap into many of their partners that they work with throughout the year and invite them to host a volunteer project during April. They usually do it on Sunday and make it a family day, but a lot of times they have different projects that go throughout the whole week as well, so people can also take part. They offer all kinds of things, and they centralize all these different projects on their website. So they can be anything from dog kennel cleanup to sorting donations to collecting goods. And it just gives people just an array of opportunities to take part in. They've been taking part in Good Deeds Day for a while, and for the last 3 years, they've really tapped into leveraging one of the projects that they do year round. So they use Good Deeds Day again as a way to leverage this partnership and this project is occurring throughout the year. And that's just a great strategic way to take part. So they're not recreating something, but they're spotlighting it, and they're really calling on people to take part in this project, but also to join them throughout the year. So it's their Bunches of Lunches program. And so for Good Deeds Day, they packed a ton of lunches, almost 400. And another great way to make this low cost is asking people to pay $5. And that covered for this project all the supplies for the lunches. So you don't always need to get a sponsor. You can ask people to pay $5 to be part of it. A lot of times people will attach it to the t-shirts as well. So using that as an incentive to sign up and to sign up early. The t-shirts through Good Deeds Day are something that we offer to nonprofits that take part, that we offer up to 30 t-shirts for free, unless organizations are doing really big things, and then we try to see how we can supply a little bit more, or they can be purchased after that at cost. And the t-shirts have the organization's logo, so that would be your logo, and Points of Light's logo, because we're really trying to tap into the unity around doing good in April, around Global Volunteer Month and Good Deeds Day. And another thing of their why of taking part is that they love being a center point for their community, but they also love being part of a global effort around doing good. And they see volunteerism as a way that they know it's not going to really address a lot of the systemic issues, but it does address the urgent issue. So they really talk about that on their blog and on their website, how people can get involved and why it's important to get involved in that project. And they really use it as a tool for just engaging people and engaging in the community.
Great. Thanks, Hannah. I love the peer-to-peer sharing that's happening here as well as live in the chat. I feel like that's always one of the benefits of bringing a large group together. So please keep that going. I know I have found a lot of value just through connecting with others and sharing resources. So we hope that that's an extra benefit of today. We're going to jump into some real resources that are very tangible, that are free. To help, just with content, around everything that we've been talking about. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Jen, who is our senior social media manager at Points of Light, who's going to talk about a really exciting, free, easy to use tool called Social Press Kit. And we hope that it'll make your lives and your Marcom team's lives so much easier. So I'm actually going to stop screen share and let Jen screen share and just do an overview of that tool, as well as some highlights from her perspective about what she sees.
Thank you very much, Kristen. Let me go ahead and get my screen up for you. So I am going to share something that we hope is going to make your life very easy to participate in Global Volunteer Month and Good Deeds Day. This is our just released this year social media kit for Global Volunteer Month and Good Deeds Day. I'm going to take you through it very briefly just so you can see how easy it is to use, as well as give you some ideas when we're all done here. So this is the homepage. You can find some of your key dates here for Global Volunteer Month, Good Deeds Day, National Volunteer Week, all the things that we talked about, as well as our Points of Light and Good Deeds Day tags. In case you need to find any of that information, save the link and you'll be able to go and find that here. Also, Kristen talked briefly about our Global Volunteer Month social surge on April 1st. In case you need a reminder, which we usually do, you can just click here and add it right to your calendar so you won't forget to post on April 1st. If you're looking for our hashtags, you can find those here as well. So for the fun stuff now, we have a ton of assets that we've provided for you. And so we've divided them into categories so you can easily find them, starting with Global Volunteer Month. You can find social surge assets. You can find Take the Pledge, Global Volunteer Month hero assets, as well as some impact related or just join the movement for global good, thank a volunteer, all different things, and you can decide what works best for you. We've also given copy designed for individuals, nonprofit, NGOs, for companies. So you get to kind of pick and choose what makes sense for you. What I love about it most is that all you have to do is click here where it says post a timeline. It'll take you directly, in this example, it'll take you directly to your Facebook page, and you can either hit send and it'll post directly to your page, or if you want to kind of modify a little bit to make it make sense for you, you can edit the caption. So we've given you a head start, and then you can from there just change it up. Just of course make sure you're using the hashtags as we go through. So this will be for Facebook. Here's some new ones we just added as well. Calling out some of the statistics. I can't do this alone. Only 1 in 3 individuals formally volunteer at least once a year. So calling to action some of those more impactful stories. So again, for Facebook, you've got X. As we go through, you have Instagram and Instagram stories. You can download these images and post direct to your stories, as well as LinkedIn. So we've covered all of the major platforms. And then if you keep going all the way to the end here, lots of great stuff. You have some direct copy to use for email, as well as newsletter templates, and a direct link to a YouTube video that you can share. I forgot to share that there is a video as well. So if you are looking for some video content, you can download so much great stuff here. One second. So you can download on each platform here. You can find there's a Global Volunteer Month video, which you can download directly to your computer and send to your page. So that is the Global Volunteer Month. You can find similar content across National Volunteer Week. Good Deeds Day, you can find some Good Deeds Day content as well as some co-branded content. And then my favorite part is if you're just looking for a picture, you can go through and every single thing that you saw there and then some, you can click right over this, hover over it to see what the picture looks like, click on it, and it'll download directly to wherever you want to send it to. So our goal with this is really just to make things as easy as possible for you so that you can participate in Global Volunteer Month. But we know everybody is crazy busy, and if you aren't sure exactly how to participate, this is an easy way. So Kristen also mentioned the Wakelets, and I'll drop a link in that when I'm all done, just because I can't do both at once. But I'm going to share what one of those look like. And this is just a compilation of some of the things that we saw last year that worked really well. And again, just to build on some of those ideas for you, you have examples here of a company creating their own branded graphics and banners. You have examples of individuals here with Sir Darius. He showed a video using how he volunteers. And we were able to uplift that for him. You have on the same note, you have a company like Synopsys that is sharing and highlighting their volunteers, their employee volunteers, and how they're participating in Global Volunteer Month with just a simple graphic, the hashtag, and then sharing. One that I loved here, Activate Good, one of our affiliates. They took us on a journey, a live journey. They took us at one of their events and they simply walked through and showcased what they were doing live, and some great results for them. And again, we were able to uplift that on their behalf and to celebrate what they were doing. A couple more good examples here. Allison, she ran the Boston Marathon last year and she raised funds to be able to participate in that. So it was a great example of just showcasing a different way of giving your time versus just showing up to an actual event. Volunteer New York, we loved this example. This was a raw and authentic message, just getting on screen and sharing, this is who we are. This is how we're participating. So just lots of great ways. Another easy example, the last one I'll share here, is if you pull together a graphic. It could be a picture of a volunteer. It could be a picture of somebody that is part of your organization with a quote, hashtag Global Volunteer Month, and you have a very easy way of showing that you are participating in this global movement and joining people around the world. So I will drop that link when I am all done here talking, and please let me know if you have any questions, and I will go ahead and stop sharing, Kristen.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Love to see all the positive comments just about the resource. We know that creating content is a huge lift. And so, I'm just getting my screens reset. So creating content is a huge lift, and that's our goal, to provide as much, help as possible. We have some of those things with our logo on them, some without, because I know, if you don't have a shared brand, it's really not about Points of Light. It's about the movement of, engaging volunteers and thanking volunteers. So I know Jen will drop those links in the chat. I do want to just clarify, I know there's questions, and then Hannah, I'll tee it over to you, and just based on time, you can decide if you want to talk about or do the screen share for resources, but I won't pull back up a screen share on my end. So as you're teeing that up, yes, National Volunteer Week, the dates for US are 21st through the 27th. National Volunteer Week in Canada is the week before, 14th through the 21st. So just to clarify some of that. So Hannah, with that, I'll turn it over to you if you want to talk about some of the Good Deeds Day resources.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see, I'm trying to share my screen, but it's not giving me the option here. But I'll drop it in the chat. So we have a lot of resources as well. We have a section on our resource section of the website, downloads for all of the co-branded graphics with Points of Light. Many of the resources are templates that don't have the date, so you can just go ahead and swap out your branding and your photos. We also have a lot of Canva templates that you can Canva's free for anyone to create an account. So we have a lot of those templates that you can also just quickly edit that we've created, and we'll put also the co-branded ones on there as well. And all kinds of toolkits too. So from how to organize an event to how to get sponsorship to how to plan, a bigger event and how to find a venue. Someone was saying that it can be difficult. So, leveraging partnerships, again, going to your local municipalities and partnering with them. Probably they have a big enough space that you could use for free, or finding a community center or something like that. So we have all these toolkits on our website, gooddeedsday.org/downloads, and we'll be sharing all of this afterwards. So all of the links you see here, we'll make sure that you guys also get this after. And yeah, that's a great shout out, Diane, that Canva has a option for nonprofits to get the pro account, which is awesome. So if you don't have it, definitely recommend to apply that for your organization. And then do we want to pull up the timeline for a second here?
Sure. Yes. Sorry, let me just get back to the. Give me 1 second. Of course, my Zoom wants to hide all my buttons at this very second. So hold on just 1 second. Here it comes. Okay.
All right, awesome. So we'll share this afterwards. So I'm not going to go through each thing, each call to action or thing to do each month. But going back as early as December, and actually, if you believe it, we've got a whole calendar year of our mini action plan of how to continue to engage your volunteers throughout the year. But starting, for a bigger kickoff in December, all the way up until Good Deeds Day, all kinds of things to keep in mind as it gets closer, from who to invite, how to leverage partnerships, and also getting together your social media calendar in advance and starting to promote your volunteer project or your events, and also just shining a light on your volunteers and your partners, and using your platform to also as a way to also engage. And then the last one here is just like the day of your project on Good Deeds Day, or whichever day you decide to take part, as well as the day after. Really be sure to share on social, because it's really important in the work that we do and the work that you guys are involved in your communities and involving volunteers, is that we share with the world, we share with our communities, and we share with the greater global community everything that you're planning, right? So this is what creates a ripple effect, and this is what is inspiring people. So we love taking stories and sharing them, because somebody else, whether they're your neighbor or an hour away or 20 hours in a time zone away, they will be inspired by what you're doing. So we want to always be making sure that we're telling the story and showing the impact and having a chance to inspire people. So take photos, share them with us, tag us in it. We have a huge reach between our organizations and our networks globally and within North America. And we want to really elevate the work that you guys are doing in April and throughout the whole year. And also make sure that let's take it as an opportunity as well to thank our volunteers. We've got lots of those resources that we shared earlier on the Good Deeds Day website. We also have fun e-cards that folks can share. A lot of people use it as a way for organizations to thank their regular volunteers. We can use it however you want. And yeah, we look forward to seeing how you guys take part and what your thoughts are and plans. And if anyone has any questions or follow up after all this, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help anyone think about what might make sense for their organization. We'll share our emails, and really happy to help you guys plan in any way we can. So yeah, thank you guys all for being here. It's been so great to have such a strong group of people, and love the activity in the chat. And thanks to Kristen and the Points of Light team here for co-hosting this. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, everybody. I know we ran right up to time, so Hannah and I will stay on if there's any questions that we can answer, but thank you it's great to see all the positive feedback, and just that these resources can be helpful. And like Hannah said, we're just so glad that you spent part of your day with us, and find this valuable, and we're here to answer any questions. So thank you for all the reactions. Continue to drop them in the chats. Let us also know if there's anything else that would be helpful. We do have time, of course, between now and April. And we're always, happy to just continue evolving. So there's so many messages. I can't, my mouse isn't keeping up with scrolling to them. So, yes, thank you everybody for joining. Are there any lingering questions that Cliff, that we need to answer?
I believe most of them were covered either in real time in the chat or through
Okay.
our Q&A.
Okay, great. All right. Well, if you're still on, I see the numbers dropping. So Hannah, is there anything else you wanted to add? Otherwise, I can kind of close this out officially.
No, I'll just close out that we'll be sharing this in lots of resources after. So I saw some specific questions on ideas. Take a look at the resources that we've put together and you'll probably find something there. But if not, we've got our emails that we'll share out. Feel free to message me personally, email me. I'm happy to help. So hope everyone has a good rest of your Friday and a good weekend. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.